This building is truly a treasure. It's set right, it's built right. It's been a really big part of many, many people's lives in Lompoc. You know, marriages, funerals, proms. It's all that, but it's just beautiful, and it's a special part of Lompoc, and it is truly, truly a treasure, and very unique, very unique.
The building was originally constructed as a Veterans Memorial building with a main hall, a minor hall, a reception room off of the lobby, a kitchen off of the minor hall to serve that minor hall, and then in the opposing wing, office space and rooms for the various veterans. It has this grand civic sense to it. It's at the end of a very long boulevard shaded by wonderful pine trees. It gives you a very strong sense of pride and civic nature to it.
This building has been here since the early 1930s, and its location is beautiful. And there are many people who have tremendous memories here. When I took over as project coordinator, I had a lot of people in the community contact me. I was married there, I had my reception there. I came here for proms, and a lot of us did that, and a lot of memories for us.
I think we acquired the first parcel in 1919. Which happened to be the abandoned end of H Street. And then in later years, a healthcare services public health clinic operated out of that modular in some of those offices that now constitute Joni Gray's office currently.
Where I am right now was a courtroom. And then it grew into a clinic for the county. And that's when all this carpet and this stuff went in. And so now we're bringing it back to what it was.
Courts operated out of there for a short period of time, as they did in many veterans memorial buildings, as kind of a community court.
Same thing in Santa Maria. The original courtroom was in the Veterans Memorial Building, and then back in it must have been the 50s, they built a court complex and left that Veterans Memorial Building out of it.
Well, we think it's a tool that is always admired by the visitors here at the building. The screw was placed here as a result of the Honda disaster back in 1923, where about 3,000 of our comrades succumbed to a shipwreck out at Honda Point.
But the Navy said that is not a propeller wing nuts, that's a screw. So they call us a wing nut because we're Air Force, but that's what the Navy calls it. They call it a screw.
My husband came to Boy Scouts here at one point as well. During the war, he used to come and harass the people up in the towers. All the kids in town did, I think.
This was during Second World War. This facility was used as a lookout point for Japanese aircraft in the area. Organizations that were civil defense operated, they also were formed under a numbered military outfit. And this was true up until 1944, and they deactivated the civil defense under the military at that time.
A lot of people came here for the clinic. A lot of people came here for various events. I came here as a child because I was involved in an organization that had a parade in Lompoc, and this is where we started the parade. And I was actually a little angel, believe it or not.
Probably starting in 2006, a group of veterans who used the building came to the Board of Supervisors and really expressed their dismay with the conditions of the building. It was run down, it had not been being maintained properly, and they were very exasperated, and with good right. And they came to the board and said, you know, help us, we want to restore this building, and we want it to be an integral part of the city of Lompoc.
We knew it was a beautiful building, but we couldn't seem to manage it, and it was just going in disrepair. It wasn't nice, people didn't like using it. And so what we finally did was we entered into a county community partnership. And a community is made up of the veterans, of volunteers, and of the county.
We started with the Restoration Committee, which comprised people from the local community, a lot of people from the Lompoc Veterans Council, who have a tremendous history and investment in this building. And so we've been meeting as a restoration committee until we got our 501c3 status, and then we became a foundation, and that's how we continue to operate.
The building was lacking presence. There was no one here a lot of the time. And in order to get into the building or to use the building, you had to contact the veterans or somebody in Santa Barbara. So we said, well, just move my office over here. And that has been a fabulous experience for us, because now we love the building, we think we're bringing it back, and people like having someone here all the time. And Kathy Martinez is my assistant that manages getting people here and then helping them with the building. And Susan Warnstrom is also here, and that presence is very important.
Landmarks are designated for the outside look of the building. Few of them designate interior spaces. Now, why that's important to realize is that anything could occur on the inside of the building and not violate the landmark designation. So the Lompoc Vets building, like I say, has a terrific degree of integrity. It's not very difficult to find out what the chair molding looked like, because the chair molding is still on the wall. Not difficult to understand how the windows were put together, because the windows are still in the building. Although they might be rusty and not work well and energy inefficient, but we can build new ones and use the old ones as the pattern. So oftentimes it's difficult for the general public to understand, why does it take so long to do these projects? Why does it cost so much money to do these projects? And it's because of this detailed work, which is driven by the Department of Interior Standards. The primary aesthetic on that building is seen from the intersection of H and Locust, and that's the red tile roof. Well, in this case, we want to take the existing tile off carefully, stockpile it, fix the roof, put the same tile back on. So when we're done, you should not be able to tell, or tell with very little impact, that we ever did anything to the roof, other than the fact that the copper gutter will shine for a little while until the weather, oxidizes it. So with respect to Joni Gray's office, they're using rooms that have always been there, but just used for another purpose.
Well, to me, this office is absolutely beautiful. And I mean, we brought the flag up from Santa Barbara, and then the ceiling was that cottage cheese stuff. So we brought the ceiling up and brought it down. But what it does is it gives you the feeling of what this room was like and what this building was like when it was built.
Because when I came in and found one day and found the man doing the floors, I went, oh my gosh, I have to use those floors. So every time I picked an accent color for the turquoise, or actually it's not an accent, it's the walls in this office, I looked at the floor.
But this building was completed in 1935-36, and black and white checkerboard squared floors were all the rave. And while we wanted to keep the checkerboard feel, no one really liked the black and white checker either. So we just turned to the wall tile that frames the wainscot in that room and picked two colors. One of them happens to be a black, a dark color, and one is a blue color.
You take a look at the ceiling and the open beams and the beautiful use of wood that you've got there. And that was, as you know, a WPA project, and there was some top quality stuff used. The auditorium will house 600 people, and the ceiling is really incredible if you're a structural engineer. I'm not, but you can see how all the boards and wood that they put together so that it basically supports itself.
If you took an Eggo waffle out of the freezer and you overcooked it, let's say, put it in the toaster just a little longer than it should be, just so it's a little firmer, and you put a piece of cardboard, heavy cardboard on it, and you put a scale on it, and then you piled dishes and bricks or whatever from the yard on that waffle, you would be surprised how much weight that waffle would hold. And it's a combination of the thin void and the ridges of the waffle. And the smaller those are, the stronger the waffle is. Very efficient, very elegant, and interesting to look at when you're standing in that room. Amazing.
We need to replace all of the windows in the auditorium. They're deteriorated. We're doing some painting, and the east wing, basically where we are now, is completed. And so now we're starting some color changes in the west wing.
This is called the trophy room, and they use this for special gatherings. And again, the goal is to get rid of the tile and redo the paint job so that it blends and fits with the era.
It was designed as a trophy room, a place where the veterans could display war memorabilia and awards and important members of the organization. And then the next room over is the dining hall.
These two are the next way we're going. And then we've again got the great beams and use of wood. And what they've told me is that they're going to make that lighter, that's a little bit dark right now.
The kitchen eventually, under a HUD grant, will be redone. The stove will be replaced, all of the appliances will be replaced, all the cabinets will be redone, so that, as you would describe, a commercial kitchen that is capable of being used by caterers to serve the building. Right now, they really can't do that.
But that's the original stove. Yeah, it was in 1936. Isn't that amazing? It's still warm because they were using it for their event.
Outside the kitchen, which is the east parking lot, that will be upgraded a little bit to make it easier for caterers to get in and out, and that's how they would enter the building and bring their supplies in. I personally think the building is just amazing because we don't build civic buildings anymore that have that sense of presence. If you look back through our early history, you'll see that city halls, courthouses, even hospitals, and occasionally the jails were all placed so that they communicated a sense of strength, a sense of civic pride, and a sense of civic identity. And nowadays we don't do that. We put city halls in strip malls or in industrial parks, but that building communicates civic pride and stature, and it has since the day it was constructed. And that's worth keeping and preserving.
Just about anybody that we approach usually has a very positive response, either through providing labor or donations. We've received some donations from the community that have been very important. They see the commitment that we have to restore this building to what it was at one time. They see the enthusiasm and interest in the community in support of this building, and it just kind of generates a lot of interest in wanting to see us achieve our goal.
So this is an incredible public-county partnership. We even won an award for it. The CSAC recognized Lompoc or the Veterans Memorial Building as one of their honorable mentions in partnership ideas that have worked.
Soon after we started, we had an open house, and people just really were just excited to come up and see the building. And continually I hear from the community that we love what's going on, keep up the good work, and so we are going to do that.
If we want to encourage folks to use the building, and we want to remind you that you can have meetings in the daytime, meetings at night, parties, banquets, weddings, funerals, all those kinds of things, because the building is here to serve you. And we've got everything from the auditorium size to a small conference size like where you and I are sitting now. And the price is great, and so they're going to find that their building is back in their life.